It's Better Agency's One Thing Wednesday starring Nick and Dan. And welcome back to another edition of One Thing Wednesday here at Better Agency, where we're showing you one thing, just one thing, a singular action thing, tactic that you can do inside of Better Agency today, right now, as you watch this video, to increase your efficiency, to use Better Agency to its fullest potential. And today, we have a very special treat because as always, I'm joined by Dan Mori, and as that's a treat in and of itself, today we're going to be talking about something very kind of near and dear to it's like a buzzword on a lot of people's lips. They're always talking about this Zapier. How do I use Zapier? And a lot of platforms, they don't really have a beefy or robust Zapier integration. But if there's one thing that we really prioritized from the get-go here at Better Agency, it was making that Better Agency Zapier integration thick, like super beefy, just like dense, and we want to make it to where you can do a lot in Zapier. And the good thing is you don't have to pay extra for that. So unlike other platforms where it costs money, here at Better Agency, you can utilize our public Zapier at no extra cost to you other than what you pay Zapier to have Zapier. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. I want to introduce the man of the hour, Dan Mori from our customer success team. What's going on, Dan?
What's happening, my friend?
Sorry to steal a little bit of your thunder there.
That's okay. That's all right. I appreciate it. I get it, man. Talking about Zapier. I'm a Zapier nerd, so I get it. I get excited too.
Do you call it Zapier or Zapier?
It is pronounced Zapier. It's not
true.
Zapier. It is Zapier
tell a lot by a person by how they pronounce that. Yeah.
Because Zapier makes you happier.
That's true. It's true.
That used
and
to
if
be
you're a
the
Better
old
Agency user, Zapier is really going to make you happier with all the cool things that you can do with it. But enough with the gimmick and enough with the cheese. Let's get right into it.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, the inevitable question, no, you do not have to be on a paid version of Zapier to use Better Agency. You can absolutely utilize our Zap on the free version. So I get that question a lot, so let's go ahead and get that one out of there as well. Now, what can you do inside of Zapier from Better Agency? So I'm going to walk you guys through both the triggers and the actions, and honestly, you can let your imagination run wild. I'll give you a few scenarios where you can use either the trigger or the action, and let you guys just kind of go to town with it. So first thing, you're just going to create a Zap and select Better Agency as your app. Now, our trigger events, we've got a handful of them in here. So opportunity stage move, this is going to be talking about in the sales pipeline. You can set the trigger when a new contact is added, a new note's created, a new tag, new task, or the service or renewal pipeline stage moves here. So I'm just going to do when a new contact is added, just because that's an easy one. So let's continue through here. And
so a new contact gets added from any type of lead source. It could be from an import that you put in there. It could be something you do one-off. It could do through any other integration where contacts are getting put into the system, correct?
Yep, exactly correct. Manual or if it was automatically inputted, it really doesn't matter. So we went through here, just selected our account. We have to test the trigger to make sure that somebody actually was created. So we're just gonna go ahead and grab this test one here and just continue right on through. So now that's the trigger is, this is what happens. It's gonna start the Zap. A new contact was added inside of Better Agency. So from here, if you aren't using our AMS and you're using, say, EasyLinks, for example, EasyLinks does have a Zapier integration. They are one that requires you to pay a little bit extra in order to have access to it. It's their rules, not mine, so take it up with them. But you can always push it into EasyLinks, and you can grab that contact info and push it into there. If you keep track of certain contacts that are added on a Google spreadsheet, you could do something like that. If you want to put them into your Google contacts or your Microsoft contacts or anything there, like I said, you can literally just let your imagination run wild and you can do it inside of Zapier. So I'm just going to show you what the actions are from inside of Better Agency. And then again, I'm going to let you guys just let your own creative juices going crazy here. So
while you're building that, I'll kind of take a moment here. So we actually wrote a really extensive article on using Zapier and Better Agency and using it in your agency. I'll link that down below as well. But I'll give you a couple of tangible examples that I've done in my agency where I was using Zapier with Better Agency and was kind of making things efficient and beautiful. We use Slack as an inter-office communication tool. Slack is another free software you can download. You can chat with people in your office. It's just kind of a cool thing. And they've got a Zapier integration. There's over 3,000 applications on Zapier. And anytime something would happen, like a new lead or anything like that, we were pushing that information right into Slack to notify the team. We were doing kind of announcements. We were doing those things. We were pushing stuff over. You can push stuff over to Google Docs. You can send emails through your Gmail. Not that you really would need to in this scenario because you have a Better Agency that does that for you. But you can do a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, there's over over 3,000 applications that are on Zapier. And so you can use this trigger as when someone comes into Better Agency to do other things. And this is really why it's important that your tech stack is open in this regard. So if you're working with technology that doesn't have a Zapier integration in the least, then shameless plug, you might want to evaluate some of that tech stack. But you can do, there's Microsoft products, Google products, really great applications to use your Zapier integration.
Yep, absolutely. Even collecting data from forms, Gravity forms, or any lead funnels or anything like that. That's another excellent trigger, which can then come in here and create update a prospect inside of Better Agency. So if you guys didn't catch it, the three triggers that are the three action events that we have are create, update a prospect, create, update a client, or create a service request. So I'm going to say, let's just say on step one here, we had somebody fill out a job form, and I want to add them into Better Agency so I can get them onto a campaign right away so we can make contact with them immediately. So what we're going to come down here, and you'll see that the only required field that we have is email address. So technically you could bring somebody in with just an email address. I would obviously recommend getting at least first name, last name, and phone number from them as well, but that's the only required field that we have in here. So contact type is just going to be personal, commercial. For a vast majority of you guys, it's just going to be personal, but you can set one Zap up for personal, one Zap up for commercial if you need to. So I'm just going to come in here, and if you've never used Zapier, basically what this is doing when you click in this box is it's referencing data from that very first step. So it's going to pull all that info from the first step. So I see the email address right here. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. I'm going to grab the first name and the last name, or I'm going to grab the customer name here. So on your forms, if you've got an option to make first name, last name by themselves, I would highly recommend do that instead of have it all come through as just one name. But I can also walk you guys through, breaking that stuff up as well if you're on a paid version of Zapier. So no worries there. We can make just about anything work here. Now again, phone number. So there was no phone number on here, but even if your test contact doesn't have some data that you're going to want to collect in the future, still select that inside of Zapier, because if there is data there for somebody else, it's going to push it into Better Agency for you. So just because this person doesn't have a phone number doesn't mean I don't want to select that phone right there. Same with the address. You can also choose, and this is actually really, really helpful, which stage in the sales pipeline you want to put them. And the reason that this is so helpful is that sometimes you may get somebody that comes through that fills out a form that's an existing client. Let's say you've got a monoline auto client and you send them a form to fill out for all of their home information. Well, you don't necessarily want to put them into a new lead stage because they're going to get emails saying, that they're a new lead. So that would add some confusion. But what you can do instead is select the pipeline stage and just put them right into working, which if you remember from previous videos or from your onboarding, working is the one stage in the sales pipeline where there's no communication that actually goes out to the prospect. It just creates tasks for whoever the assigned owner is, just to remind them that they're in the working bucket. So that's a really, really cool feature as well. Most of the time, you're going to probably put them in new lead, but you do have the option. And if you also remember from last week's video about creating custom campaigns using lead source and policy type, you can actually trigger that from Zapier as well. So if I believe I did ELP and auto was one of them that I did last week, and I come down here to campaign, I can choose to either fire the foundational new lead campaign or launch the campaign based off the policy type lead source combination. So if I know that this is an ELP lead source, maybe it's just coming in through the Zapier parser, and I want this every single time to fire that campaign, I can choose that. If it's just going to be a generic form that anybody could fill out, you could always go in and make a custom campaign for our website and then add a policy type that's just general or insurance plan, something that you can still customize using those custom lead campaigns. But again, the whole point of that is that you have so many different options on what you can use that it's just limited by your imagination. You can go through and assign the owner here, or if you're launching a custom campaign, it's just going to obey the rules of the campaign inside of Better Agency. So those 3 users that I selected last week will be round robined on this one here. Again, you can kind of go through and see some of the fields that we've got. Date of birth, you can create sales notes, address, city, state, zip. And what's also really cool is that if you have any custom fields created inside of Better Agency, you can actually zap to those as well. So some of you that are using video proposal links that They may not necessarily be, or they may be unique every single time, so you can't add them into the video proposal campaign. Boom, put them in a custom field, zap that stuff in here. You can put a website if it's a business. You can put their closing date. You can put all their spouse's information. All that stuff can come in here into custom fields as well. So I'm just going to come all the way down here to continue. Just to set it up here, I'm going to skip this test because this person came from Better Agency, so it's obviously going to give me an error trying to throw them in there, as far as creating a new one goes. But you would just test and continue and be on your merry way and enjoy your Zap.
So now there was a lot here. There was a lot of words spoken just now.
Correct.
And so I can see very easily how somebody, if they're brand new to this, they're going, holy smokes, I thought you said this was going to be simple. Now, how much, and it is, I mean, don't let this intimidate you, but
Sure.
How much help, how much guidance, how much hand-holding will the customer support and customer success team do with Better Agency users when they want to set up custom apps?
Yeah, as much as we possibly can, honestly. So when you're onboarding, you're most likely going to meet with Cynthia if you haven't already. She is very familiar with Zapier. She can walk you through this as well. I have a Q&A call Monday through Friday, every single day from 3 o'clock Central to 4 o'clock Central. It's a general open Q&A. Bring me whatever questions you have. If it's Zapier related, then we'll walk through how to create this app on there. And then we also have a specific campaign and Zapier call that I do every Monday that is at 1 o'clock Central Time. And like I said, that one's specific to campaign questions and Zapier questions. So bring any questions to that as well. And I will literally walk you through the entire process of creating a Zap. I just did that yesterday with another one of our users. So I have no problem with it. Said I'm a Zapier nerd, so I love hopping into Zapier accounts.
So basically, there's no shortage of support or guidance or help that we're going to give to Better Agency users when they want to set up Zaps. So
Exactly.
They can join any of the calls every single day. They can go to the dedicated call for campaign and Zapier help, and we're going to help them if they get stuck. If they're not, like, if they're going, man, you might as well be speaking Mandarin to me right now. Then we're going to be able to also kind of help them do this and almost kind of do it with them, do it for them type thing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. So that's part of the onboarding process as well. We've got a number of users who, like you mentioned, look at this and say, no, I don't know what language that is. That makes no sense to me. So they'll go in and create their Zapier account, and they'll just give us the login and say, here you go. Can you go set this app up for me? Yeah, sure, no problem. It takes us 2 minutes to do. So we don't mind that at all. That's part of the onboarding process with you guys. So that's why we do it.
Great. So if you have any more questions about Zapier, first check out the article that I'm going to link down below in the description. You can check that out. And then if you're not a Better Agency user, sign up for a trial, get into Better Agency, start using it, jump on the onboarding calls with Dan and do the weekly calls with Dan or Cynthia, and those help you set up all your Zaps. But we want to help independent agents sell $1 billion in premium by 2024, and we know that connectivity is a major focus and a major key that's going to help agents get to that level. So that's why we're here. This has been one thing that we're trying to show you in Better Agency that's going to help you improve and increase the efficiency and growth of your agency. So it's been another episode here of One Thing Wednesday. We'll see you again next week, where Dan will be showing you something else, maybe a little bit on the simpler side, if this intimidated you a little bit. And we'll see you again next week.